A simple scroll through your Instagram feed or attending a fun networking event can result in a ton of comparison and potentially lead you to base your worthiness as a human on your ability to complete tasks. I'll tell you that I bought into that narrative for a while, and I competed against the voice inside my head to be the most productive person who ever produced. But I didn't realize how my productivity was actually hurting me and my business. So I want to share with you my journey to overcoming my productivity-based self-worth. Earlier this year, I had to unexpectedly take about 2 weeks off when I came down with the flu. And while my body battled this virus, my mind was battling the false belief that productivity equals higher perceived value and worth, as if the more you work, the better you are. I don't know about you, but I am ready to unsubscribe from that narrative. And it hit me pretty hard. Productivity-based self-worth is an epidemic in itself. And to be honest, that realization hurt more than my flu symptoms. The productivity pandemic has us struggling to identify the difference in doing versus being. And while I was sick and I was in bed and I was watching, several seasons of Manifest on Netflix in one day, I felt guilty because I wasn't doing enough. Have you ever been there? Have you ever noticed this over the course of the last several months or a couple years? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Part of me was grateful that I have the business that I have and the team to take over and the opportunity to really take time off to do nothing but nap and watch a lot of Netflix. I watched the whole first season of Manifest in like a day. Amazing show, by the way. But by day 3 or 4, I was bored. And boredom like I had never felt before, which I'll preface with, this is not the worst problem to have. I have learned a lot from it. And while I was in this, I actually created a poll on my social media, and the answers were all ones that I could easily resonate with. I asked, how do you feel when you aren't or can't be productive? Now, before I tell you the answers, have you subscribed to this channel yet? I want you to hit that red button and be notified of the new videos that I put out to accelerate your business every single week. So I asked, how do you feel when you can't be productive? Here were the answers. Helpless, useless, worthless, guilty, frustrated, anxious, depressed. Which brought me to ask myself, why the heck are we so consumed by comparison and perfectionism and imposter syndrome? And why are productivity metrics so pervasive? Well, maybe it's because even the simplest little social media spiral will show us 5-year-olds with $1 million YouTube channels, or hashtag boss babes who wear busy as a badge of honor, or these smiling faces that are secretly on the edge of burnout. Isn't that exhausting to look at? I think I need another nap. When I was sick, I was supposed to be taking time off of work to heal. But I observed this internal narrative going on that I was feeling guilty that I wasn't working instead of healing. I was questioning if I should be doing more. You know that some countries take 3 hours off every afternoon to nap? If we did that in America, how many of us would wake up with anxiety, assuming there were fires to put out? Why? Because capitalism. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, society has installed into us that the more we work, the more we produce, the more valuable we are, quite literally at this time, because your contribution to the economy made you more valuable. And now with technology and innovation just advancing faster than ever, it's hard to find the line between work and everything else in life. And this isn't new to me, but it became very apparent that I and many of us have this self-inflicted hardware that I wanted to heal in my mind as I healed my body, and to overcome this obsession with doing rather than being. We are human beings, not human doings. Society has been installing the idea that self-worth is connected to external validation, from relationships, financial success, physical appearance, popularity. So this is a message to untangle your inherent worth as a human from how productive you are. This is a really weird mindset shift for me, because if someone told me years ago that I could work less in order to grow my business, I wouldn't believe it. I grew up with the belief system hearing that nothing worth having comes easy. You have to work hard to get what you want. So I operate my business with this belief. And I thought that if I wanted to make more money, I just had to work harder. Put in more hours, show up earlier, stay later, do the hard things. But just for a moment, let's define what that means to work harder. Does that mean that it has to be painful or backbreaking? Are we implying that the work we do can't possibly be enjoyable? That's where entrepreneurship for me began to expose my limiting beliefs, because the harder I worked still kept me being the bottleneck. And that didn't translate into money, maybe just more exhaustion and poor decisions. When you start your business, you are the CEO, Chief Everything Officer. But then at some point, the focus shifts from grow to scale. You don't do everything by yourself anymore, because what got you here won't get you there. What got you here will kill you. If I continued operating like that, I may have burnt out and gave up before ever scaling past 6 figures. And I never would have been able to reach, multiple 7 figures that we have today. And I say we very strongly because I now know that I can't do this alone, which is why my focus has to shift to becoming a leader. And that in being a better boss or being a better leader, the only way for me to scale and grow a team is by me setting the vision. And sometimes that means doing less. That's where my identity has to shift from being a doer to a delegator, from being a manager to a leader, which can be hard for us entrepreneurs who like to have control. Like, we started this business from a place of we want to have creative freedom. We want to be able to create a lifestyle that we didn't have. So that identity shift requires overcoming some limiting beliefs. I know one for me was, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself, which is extremely limiting to A, miss out on the opportunity and experience of creative collaboration with a team member, and B, for your own personal development and growth and becoming a leader and exploring your other skills when you have your time back. And C, you only have so many hours in a day, so your business will not scale if you insist on being the bottleneck. I just want to give you a big disclaimer, like a big warning. As your identity shifts away from your self-worth being from how productive you are, you may start to feel a little bit insecure. You may question your value, if anyone needs you. And you might think like, well, that sounds silly. I want to be free. It would be a dream to have a business that runs itself and that it can make money without me. But because we built this thing, because it's our baby, because we have this internal wiring that this is just how we grew up and what we believed is important to society, we can unintentionally become the bottleneck again, trying to insert ourselves into places that aren't necessary. And this is where the most valuable thing that we can do as a leader is sit and think and dream and learn and vision, which on the outside doesn't look very productive. And if you, like me, had the belief that you have to work hard to get what you want and defined hard work by things that were challenging or difficult, sitting, thinking, dreaming, learning, visioning might not seem very important or valuable. But that's your job, to set the vision, to create the image of the future direction that you're going, and bring that back to your team to inspire them. And I also want to remind you that you don't have to be productive every single minute of the day to maximize your cash flow and grow your business. One of my superpowers that I'd love to support you with is teaching people how to create a content machine that can sell high ticket for you on autopilot. So if that's something you'd be interested in, I'd love to give you my highest revenue generating, most profitable campaigns that you can actually just plug and play into your business to maximize your lead generation and sales. So if you're interested in that, click the link below to attend our Hello to High Ticket training. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, and I never would have been able to reach, multiple figures, and that in being a better boss or a better leader, my ship, which is extremely limiting to A, miss out on the opportunity to, and the big warning, and here's and what we believed is that